For billions of people, football is a series of 90-minute investments. When a goal hits the net and a stadium erupts, it is the culmination of years of national expectation. FIFA was founded in 1904 to unify the sport's disparate rules and regions. Its president, Jules Rimet, spent years lobbying for a standalone tournament where the world's best national teams would finally meet on one pitch. That meeting happened in 1930. Uruguay hosted 13 teams, and after defeating Argentina 4-2 in the final, they became the first champions of a tournament that was still finding its footing. Italy dominated the next decade, winning in 1934 and 1938. But the momentum stopped there. As World War II broke out, international competition became impossible, and the trophy was hidden away for 12 years. The tournament's long hiatus showed how deeply sport is tied to the state of the world. It couldn't exist in a time of total conflict, resuming only when nations were once again ready to travel and compete. The World Cup returned in 1950, hosted by Brazil. For the deciding match against Uruguay, nearly 200,000 people crowded into the Maracanã, expecting a routine Brazilian victory. Instead, Uruguay's 2-1 victory caused what is still called the Maracanazo. The loss was so unexpected, it created a lasting sense of caution in Brazilian football culture. Upsets continued in 1954. West Germany faced a Hungarian squad that hadn't lost a match in 4 years. The Germans overturned a 2-goal deficit to win 3-2, a result known as the Miracle of Bern. By the mid-50s, the World Cup had established its reputation. These weren't just matches. They were events where a single 90-minute result could alter a nation's sporting identity for decades. In 1958, the game's scale shifted toward the individual. A 17-year-old Pelé arrived in Sweden and scored 6 goals, leading Brazil to their first title and starting a new era of technical dominance. Brazil would go on to win 3 out of 4 tournaments by 1970. This period established the yellow jersey as a global symbol for a specific, fluid style of play that became the benchmark for the sport. In 1986, the focus shifted to Argentina's Diego Maradona. His performance enmarked dominant individual display in the tournament's history. Against England, Maradona showed both sides of his reputation, scoring a controversial goal with his hand, then dribbling past 5 defenders to score the goal of the century just 4 minutes later. This era showed that while football is a team game, a single athlete's performance can define a tournament's legacy and lift an entire nation to victory. As the tournament modernized, the physical demands increased. Zinedine Zidane led France to a home-soil victory in 1998, and 4 years later, Brazil's Ronaldo scored 8 times to secure a record 5th title. But the increased pressure of the modern era can lead to collapse. In 2006, Zinedine Zidane was sent off in his final match for a headbutt, an exit that shadowed the end of a legendary run. Spain brought a different approach in 2010. Their tiki-taka system relied on constant, short passing to keep possession, moving the ball so efficiently that opponents were often unable to even register a shot. Tactical control reached a peak in 2014 when Germany dismantled the host nation, Brazil, 7-1. It was a statistical anomaly that remains the most one-sided semifinal in history. By 2018, a new generation had arrived. Kylian Mbappé became the second teenager after Pelé to score in a final, using raw speed to lead France back to the top of the podium. The modern game is defined by these extremes, the perfection of a tactical system like Spain's, or the sudden, overwhelming impact of a young talent like Mbappé. In 2022, the tournament reached a rare narrative peak. It was a direct contest between the established star, Kylian Mbappé, and Lionel Messi, who was playing in his 5th and final World Cup. The final was a 3-3 draw that lasted through 120 minutes of play. It was decided by a penalty shootout, the highest stakes moment in international sports. Argentina won, and Lionel Messi held the trophy he had been pursuing for nearly 20 years. It was the statistical and emotional end to a journey that had spanned 5 different tournaments. That match concluded a century of history, where the world's most talented players fought to justify their reputations in a single month-long window. But while the global giants were building their histories, where was India? India actually qualified for the 1950 World Cup. However, the team withdrew due to the costs of travel to Brazil and internal disagreements over team selection. A unique opportunity to enter the global stage was missed. There were successes. India finished fourth in the 1956 Olympics. But as other nations invested in professional structures and youth development, the gap between India and the global elite widened. Viewership in India is now at an all-time high, with millions watching every match. The current challenge is translating that massive audience into a professional pipeline that can compete at the highest level. The history of the World Cup is still being written. For India, the objective is to move from being the world's largest audience to having a place on the team sheet.